And now to a Kelly File exclusive. Nearly 17 years ago, the nation was shaken to its core by one of the worst school shootings in our history. Two teenage boys, hell-bent on destruction, entered Colorado's Columbine High School and murdered 13 innocent people. 12 of them, their fellow classmates, the other, a beloved teacher. By the time it was all over, 24 more had been injured in this attack, and the rest of the school was left horrified by what they had just witnessed. As for the two gunmen, they took their own lives. And now, for the very first time on television, the mother of one of the killers is ready to break her silence, speaking exclusively to ABC's Diane Sawyer. Watch.
Part of the shock of this was that learning that what I believed and how I lived and how I parented was an invention in my own mind, that it was a completely different world that he was living in.
She says not a day goes by she doesn't think of the victims and their families.
I just remember sitting there and reading about them. All these kids and the teacher. And I keep thinking, constantly thought, how I would feel if it were the other way around and one of their children had shot mine. I would feel exactly the way they did. I know I would. I know I would.
ABC News anchor Diane Sawyer joins me now to discuss her exclusive and eye-opening interview with Sue Klebold. Diane, great to see you.
It's good to see you here.
After all this time, 17 years, she breaks her silence and finally goes on camera to talk about this. Just in the clip we saw there, you can see the overwhelming guilt. What was your takeaway?
Bringing shattering lessons learned over so much time and so much regret and so much distance, and of course the victims' families and their unsurpassed grief. And she said to herself, what can I do except tell you what I missed and hope somebody else doesn't miss it?
That's the crux of it, because every parent wonders, what were the signs? What was there that she didn't see?
She has a magnifying glass out on her life, and that's one of the reasons she's been writing this for years, because she wanted to go over everything.
Because she's writing a book, and which
she
she's
is
talking
writing
about
a
with
book called A Mother's Reckoning, and reckoning is a very big word in her life right now. And I think one of the things that will stun you is you're going to go back and see her journals that she was writing. And she was writing it in the summer that he was also writing journals, and she's writing about adolescent phases. She's writing about his happy times. He is writing about suicidal depression. He is writing about not being able to go on. He is writing about the fact that he will never find happiness in his life, so what is the point?
She didn't see it?
She says that, and this is, we've talked to all the experts on this, adolescents are better at hiding depression than adults are, because the stigma is so great. They don't want to be different. They can hide it. And she wrote what she did see often. She's going to take you through this, to adolescent depression, and we have everybody watching it so far inside ABC News saying, what am I doing at home? Is there something more profound?
Was there something, we like to believe as parents that these parents must have been weird. They must have been bad,
right.
Because we don't want to believe, right? So was there something about her that jumped out? Did she seem like a normal parent?
I think when you see her, everyone's first reaction is the same. That's not what I thought she was going to be like. That's not what I thought she was going to look like. The thing you have to remember, and that we all have to keep remembering, it was 17 years ago. Who knew about this incredible adolescent depression? Every 95 minutes, a young person dies.
This was the first big one that put this problem on the map.
Yes,
in contemporary America.
It was in so many ways. And then, of course, and I want to be clear about this, adolescent depression, suicidal depression is not the pathway to violence. That is something different. And she also has to look at that crossroads.
Does she know how it crossed over from one to the other?
Well, you know, she is examining every part of it. So are the experts examining it with us. Of course, Eric Harris was his friend. He had a friend.
The other killer.
The other killer was there. And this convergence of the two of them is one of the things we really, really want to study. I will say one thing that I think parents at home are going to be debating big after this. Do you respect privacy? Do you ransack the room?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a big factor coming up in the section in which she tries to deal with this part.
She wrote years ago about thinking back on her child and, in her words, the monster he became, and then the child again. What does that mean? What did she mean by that?
You know, she goes from staring at the child as she dreamed he would be to staring at the murderer he became. And in her heart, she cannot let go of the child she loves so much as she always thought he might be.
She said one time, she said very little, but she did write a piece 10 years after the shooting saying he left that morning and just said, bye, that's it.
Right.
And that she concluded he must not have loved me, given what he did. Is she still in that place?
I think she's very much in bewilderment about the mysteries of that, and that is one of them. And there is a tape that ends with his saying, hey, Mom, gotta go. And it's addressed to her. And so she's living in this incredible contradiction. And you will see this as she goes back and forth and struggles to grapple with who he really was at which times and what she missed and blamed herself for forever.
Wow. It's tomorrow night, Friday night, 10 p.m. on ABC News. And again, it takes a look at school shootings, mental health, and the status of America when it comes to warning signs and what we should be looking for in our kids. Diane, thank you so much.
Thank you.